Hello, everybody, and welcome to the rotation. I am Ashley, aka MiDNiTE. I'm super stoked this week to be on. We've got Standy. Listen, I'm gonna say something ignorant. No jinx or anything. Knock on wood. We got the Rookie of the Year on live with us here on the rotation. Excited,
Hot
Oh,
Standy.
take, hot take.
Welcome in.
bold
I know.
statement.
Yeah, I
Bold
know. I
statement.
can't. I don't want to jinx
We're,
it,
we're
but
on the
hey,
path.
man. The potential's there. And as usual, I'm joined by IKON and Kingdom. And IKON, where are you right now? You're on location somewhere. Dedicated podcast host. Where are you right now?
I am on location from Magic Kingdom in Disney. I don't know if you guys can see, but right up there, that's Cinderella's castle. Trying to get it in the shot there, but park's open for like 20 more minutes. I figured, you know what, it's kind of dying down, so I'd call in and say hello.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, since you're only here with us for like a little bit, do you have any kind of like whether it's a hot take, a question, anything? What do you got for Standy? What do you want to know?
Yeah, so just a couple things real quick. I'll start this off by saying, listen, I'll admit it. I was the only person on last week's podcast to
True.
say that we would go 0 and 2, and then Standy comes aboard. We end up winning both of those. Listen, I didn't know what to expect. It was early. I think it would. I thought it would take a little bit of time, but Standy, you came in. You've been absolutely frying. It seems like you mesh really well with Attach, and Priesta seems like he's back in his role now. So he looks a little bit more comfortable on the map, running an AR. So I guess my only question for Standy right now is, how does it feel? I mean, it has to feel like a whirlwind, right? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. You were playing in the challenger scene. You get called up. You beat Optic. You beat Dallas. Now all of a sudden there's a track to the winners bracket for the second major. So how do you feel, man? How's it been going?
Uh, the best way I could explain it is it feels surreal. I mean, it's really crazy that I'm playing with the players I am now, and I had a feeling inside of me that when I was brought in that we're gonna make something happen. I just knew. I can't really explain it, but I knew we were gonna make something happen, and I think with the new energy and aura around the team, we're really getting things done and grinding really hard. So.
Yeah, that's honestly, I've watched all the matches, of course. Haven't been able to really dive into the strategy and whatnot, but it just seems like everybody fits well together. It seems like you and Attach are really comfortable. You're allowing it allows Priesta to do what he does. Accuracy has been playing super well. It just seems like coming into this year, the biggest question mark for RØKKR might have been, how are we going to make the roles work? And now it seems like you've got Attach and you've got you slotted in a role where you should be, and Priesta's there at that fast AR, being able to fly around the map and do what Priesta does. So I don't know. It's just cool to watch. I'm excited to get back. I'm excited to be on the co-stream with Ashley this upcoming match when I get back into town. So I'm pumped. I thank you guys for letting me on. I know it's a little bit unconventional, but we're out here,
Hey,
and I'm excited to watch the rest of it once I get back to the room.
on location, dude. Listen, so our DM convo before you, like you told me, hey, we're going on spring break. I'm gonna be gone. Like I won't be able to do the co-stream, and I was like, oh, you just didn't want to be here when we go 2-0 on the weekend, and
Yeah.
you didn't want to have to be there for your predictions to be wrong. And then you're like, well, I'll call in from Cinderella's castle, and you weren't joking. You
Yep.
really did. So I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Yep, we made it
Honestly,
happen.
Icon,
Hey, I'm excited to
you
listen to
should
the rest
say
of
we're
it.
not gonna win the major now, because
Yeah.
you said we're going 0 and
Oh.
2.
He
He actually even
I'll
said
see what
that
I
you guys
can
were
do.
going to get 3-0'd by Optic, and the opposite happened.
Hey, all right.
We came out with
You
the
don't have to
fire.
say 3-0.
I told you I was roasting you when you came on.
3-0.
I don't
man.
remember that one. Listen,
I
it was
definitely see
really
where you're
hot.
coming
I don't
from.
really remember.
Yeah, your vision's
You didn't know what to
hazy.
expect.
Yeah, that is true.
All right.
No one did. No one expected what
No
happened, that's
one.
for sure. Well, except
No.
for you probably, but we'll get into that.
I was
All right,
expecting.
Icon,
Right.
we'll let you go, Icon. Thanks so much for jumping on.
All right.
He just dipped. Sweet. All
Whoa,
right,
yeah.
guys. Whew, he went quick. Man, I don't even, where do we
Icon's
start, bro?
out of here.
Kingdom, I'll let you. Let's maybe just go back and forth asking Eli questions. Eli, aka Standy. Eli, you have a cool last name too. Eli Standy Benz with a Z.
Yeah.
Like one day you'll have to drive a Benz or something. I don't know, but that would make
I might
sense.
have to.
Do it up for him.
Might have to get a
So
Benz.
I mean, listen, brand new member of Minnesota RØKKR here, made your pro debut last week versus I mean, couldn't have picked, in my opinion. I mean, maybe depending on how you see the other hot teams right now, like FaZe is super hot, but like the two hardest matches in our group, you come on board. We 3-0 Optic. You make literally the most impressive rookie. Listen, I'm a nerd. I've been watching competitive COD since way before you hit puberty. I've been watching since like 2011, man. Like I've never seen such an impressive rookie debut. Drops a 1.52 versus Optic in a 3-0 fashion. And then, I mean, we play world champs in Dallas Empire, and you know it was a little close, not gonna lie, but you know,
It was pretty
3-2,
close.
it's a W, right? We've gone from 0-2 in the group to 2-0. Just tell me just a little bit, like I want to get into your background and everything, but just tell me like about the last week of your life. What has the whirlwind been like? How'd you get the call? How did it all go down?
Okay, so I think this kind of goes back. So in MW, I had a really solid MW season, which was the last Call of Duty. I won the Challenger Champs, which was pretty much the biggest event you could win for that year. And then we went into Cold War, me and myself. I think it kind of started from the scouting series. I had a pretty good performance in the scouting series. A lot of people had their words about the scouting series, like if it was good or bad. But I saw it as an opportunity. Did what I wanted to do, and I played well. And I think from there. When they knew this team had to make a roster change, I think they thought that I was the perfect fit, and I agree with that as well. So, the recent tournament I just won was the Challengers Cup #9, and I won that cup.
Dang,
I
9
played
of
really
them
well.
already? Sheesh.
Yeah, and I was like the so-called MVP for that tournament, and so after I won that tournament, I was kind of talking to Jake Reppin a little bit. And I was getting this FaceTime call. Okay, I have a little story here. So I was getting a FaceTime call. I was like, why is Jake calling me right now? Right? Like, this is like 1 hour after I won the tournament. Maybe like 45 minutes. And I'm like, why is he calling me right now? Like, I just won a tournament. Like, I was obviously excited. So I declined it at first because, like, I needed a few minutes. And then he called again. And I was like, okay, I'm going to answer it. And then I answered, and right there on the FaceTime is Lamar. And he's like, what's good, GOAT? Saying all this stuff, gassing me up. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, okay. So I was like, that's when I kind of realized that, like, hey, I mean, this might be happening. This is going to happen. So I think that's kind of when everything in the reality came to fruition. And that's when I kind of realized, like, hey, this is actually going to happen. Like, so that's when I decided that, like, wow, like they kind of told me like, hey, can we get you out here in Texas pretty fast? And I was like, yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen. Honestly, I did not expect it to be like, hey, like we need you down here in 2 days. You're playing against Optic, your first match. I was like, whoa, but like at the
You
same
weren't
time,
even in
like
Dallas already, right? Where
yeah,
were you from?
I'm from Pennsylvania. So I was really excited. I was like, Optic, my first match. I was like, I mean, it's a crazy, but this is the opportunity I've been waiting for, so I'm not going to decline it. I'm going to come out here and try to show what I can do. So, I mean, it's been great so far. It's really been quite the experience, and it's been really amazing. I'm thankful for everyone so far.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you not only came out and had the most impressive, like, first match that anyone has ever seen in terms of stats, but the team you were playing is a top 3 team in the game right now by most people's standards. They're in a little bit of a slump, but you know, still the same green walls, same awesome veteran players, and greatness in the other two. And I guess my question for you is, what preparation in challengers, because we've seen other people like Paul X, we've seen things happen. Like it seems like the Challengers is doing something to create really good players over these last couple of years. And I guess my question for you is, what preparation do you think helped you come out of the gate so well in this first iteration, like with these 2 matches that you played?
So let me put it this way. So throughout MW and this year, I had really, really good teammates, former professional players, really solid teammates that gave me and shed a lot of knowledge on me and helped me improve as a player. But I also think that, like you said, Ashley, 9 tournaments so far. Like a lot of these players have been in a lot of situations, a lot of high stressful impact moments. Even though it is online COD, we've gotten a lot of reps. We've been playing every day. There's tournaments almost every weekend, and I'm not gonna sit here and say the pros haven't played, but the amateurs have played a lot more tournaments and matches than the professionals. So you know what I mean? Those high tournament situations, because you're not always going to be getting in the same situations in scrimmages and practices compared to tournaments, because tournaments, you know what I mean, everyone's going that extra step harder. So I think that really kind of like the more I played in challengers, I felt the even more prepared I was going to be for when I got my opportunity. And if you want me to be quite honest, I don't mean this in like a like I honestly thought that I was gonna get an opportunity after I won Challengers Champs last year, but obviously that didn't happen. So that just made me realize like I'm gonna keep grinding, like I'm gonna keep doing what I need to do to get that opportunity. And if I just stay positive, trust the process, I know something will open up eventually. So you just have to keep there, and this makes you stay on top, because there's a lot of great pool of challenger players out there right now.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, honestly, when you think about it. I mean, I'm like very biased, very RØKKR biased, low key glad you didn't get picked up until now. But like, I'd heard of you, you know, from Doug Sensor Martin's actually the guy who told me about you. He's like, I was
Yeah,
talking to him on the
that's my
phone like
guy.
over a year ago, and he's like, dude, like, I I don't remember how you came up, but he was like, "There's this kid Standy. He's a freak. Like he's nasty. He's best sub in the game. Blah blah blah." And you know, and then I think like when you mentioned scouting series, so that was coming around, and I don't pay the most close attention to challengers, but scouting series made me like, okay, like I want to do some content around this. Like I think we're one of the only teams that did like content. We showed clips, we did interviews with the players, like there was a little draft. Like it was, you say what you want about it, but it was cute, right? Like for content, I was like,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
So
of course.
but I remember like asking Brian ahead of time, like, hey man, like who are you actually, like how are you treating this scouting series, and like who are you actually like wanting to see the most of? And he mentioned your name first, right, to me, and I was like, okay, well I'm gonna make sure I interview him if you pick him. So then he picked you. I think it was on the last like day because they chalked the rest of it. But it was like, you know, I saw you play, you played nasty. I was like, yo, Standy, you want to do an interview? You were like, hell yeah, like you were about it. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, man, like and at that time obviously we had the lineup we did. I didn't even in my mind think, yeah, maybe we'll pick this kid up, right? I think like honestly with the rosters having to downsize a little bit from 5v5 to 4v4 is most likely why you
Yeah,
probably didn't get that starting
I
spot right
agree.
away. But it's like you
100%.
say, like, you know, the season is too short in terms of points for teams to fall behind and not make playoffs and champs. So we saw this downturn, unfortunately, for RØKKR. And then, hey man, like I know you've been on Brian's radar for like he says like a year. Like you've been on his radar, and he sees an opportunity. Jake FaceTimes you a couple times, and the rest is history. Like it's just honestly kind of crazy
For
how it
sure.
all started. So congrats, happy to have you here. And I had lots of people spamming in the chat. Standy stands, Standy stand up. I'm gonna see about getting a Standy stand T-shirt for the fan club. But yeah, man, absolutely crazy debut. I've never seen anything like it. Tell me a little bit about like how did you start competing? Like when did you start playing COD? You mentioned that you played Black Ops 2, which impressed me because you're so young and that was so long ago. I feel I'm old, so like I was yeah. I just want to hear kind of like what's the origin story of Standy.
Hmm. Let's see where we can start this from. So my first Call of Duty was probably Black Ops 1. My
Good
parents were
one.
kind of against like shooting games per se when I was younger, and my friends at school were all playing like Call of Duty, Xbox 360. And at the time I was like 11, 12 years old. I was pretty young, so I eventually 6th grade I went out. They bought me a Black Ops 1, and from there I played with my friends, all that. I was just mainly like a pub stomper kind of player in the day, and then a few years passed. I kind of got into league play on Black Ops 2, that kind of stuff, and then another few years passed, and Advanced Warfare came out, and that's when I met one of my friends through a ranked play, and he's the one who introduced me about like game battles, that kind of stuff, like UMG, wagers, tournaments, all that kind of stuff, and he kind of introduced me to that, and I went from like playing like game battle matches. But before that, like back to my name, I made my name when I was like 12, 13. I went for OG gamer tags. Originally, I had the name Stand Full, and then I joined this clan. I remember it. The clan name was Cloak. They probably had like 100 followers on Twitter. I was just like a 14-year-old kid at the time, and I was like, honestly, I'm gonna make my name Cloak Standy. And from there, I just stuck with Standy, and then back on track. So I went from like game battles matches. I had a really good team records from there, and then Infinite Warfare came out, Black Ops 3. I kind of made the transition to wagers, and like I don't know if you guys were kept up with like the search and destroy scene, but back in the day, the search and destroy scene was a little bit more like pop in. There's some streamers here and there, and
oh yeah,
I entered some tournaments, and I did pretty solid with my friends, and then eventually some like bigger search and destroy named people eventually kind of like picked me up to their squad or like group a circle of players, and then from there I did really good. Like I probably have a total of like 400 golds for like tournaments.
Jeez.
And like I was like rushing home from school, like, yo, gotta enter the 2v2 GB one and done. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, my friends were asking me to hang out. I was like, I'm busy tonight. I can't hang out tonight. I was like, I got the 3v3 one and done. I gotta enter that. And so I put a lot of years through that, and I was pretty solid. And then honestly, I always was like thinking that like, hey, like why not see if I can go pro? You know what I mean? I put a lot of time into this, and if I can make it happen, why not go my hardest? So if I do fail, I can at least say that like, hey, at least I tried my hardest. I went my hardest if I failed, but you know what I mean? It just, I kept climbing the ladder one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. It was a long process, a really long process, but throughout with like determination and staying positive, we made it happen. So that's pretty much the story.
I mean, that's an amazing story. Now, I may have missed it, but did you mention in there where your name Standy actually came from?
Honestly, like I just tried to create OG gamer tags, and I guess one day just like some mystical something popped in my head and just made me decide to choose Standy. Like I don't have like an exact definition or like reasoning, but I don't know what my 14-year-old self was thinking at the time, but I thought Standy sounded cool, so that's where we are now. It does.
It's a cool name. It's a memorable name. I mean, think about it. Like, I know we talked about it a little pre-show, but you know, we had this guy named Scump come into the league one day. We had this other guy named Simp come into the league one day. Now we've got Standy. Maybe there's something in common there. Like, you know, guys on there's no more GB ladders really, but if you're out there and you're in challengers, you might want to change your gamer tag to an S something.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm changing to MiDNiTE. I'm gonna be
MiDNiTE. Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah,
Kingdom.
That would be all bad. You can't even Skingdom. Yeah.
All right, I got a question from the chat, actually. So shout out to the chat, guys. We do this podcast live every week on the RØKKR YouTube. If you're listening to the audio recording, then shout out to you as well. But hey, you want to be here live, ask some questions? I got one. Someone asked, Tanush, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. How is playing with the big dogs in the league different from challengers? Like, what are some of the differences you notice? I mean, we did talk about how, you know, the challengers scene is a lot more active in terms of competitive matches and the intensity there. So, you know, maybe elaborate on that, or just say like what are the differences that you notice from the grinders and challengers versus the pros that you're playing? I know you even play 2 matches, a small sample size, and you're on crazy different servers. But yeah, what's the difference? Can you think of any?
I think one noticeable thing is that in super high pressure intensity situations, the big dogs always make a good play. Like almost all the time. Like in a lot of situations, just from like what I watch, they don't really let the intensity get to them, and for the most part, they really make solid plays when it comes down to like pressure and stuff like that. And I think what else I'd say is probably that these kind of players, they have a lot of knowledge, and they're also really open to hear what I have to say as well. So I think it's really good. It feels more like I feel like here it feels a lot more like a family, and like, hey, like I want to do good for Attach. I want to do good for Preston. I want to do good for Lamar, and they all want to do good for me. You know what I mean? Like we all want to see each other win, and I feel like in the challenger scene, you definitely get that kind of vibe sometimes with some of your teams. But at the end of the day, like most of these teams that are to get your chance, they're only picking up like one or two players here and there. So it's kind of like in the challenger scene, like there's a little bit more like individuality in a sense, but when you're with like a full team, like I feel like it's a lot more of like a family, and you just really want to see each other win. I just for my few days here, I know it's only been a little bit, but just from like off the top of my head, what I could think of. So
You're like, dude,
Wow.
you know that like meme video where he's like, it's only my third day out here, I don't know. Like literally your
that's
third
me.
day out
That's
here, I
me.
don't know, was the Optic match. Like literally you just got
On
there.
my third
I
day out
was
here, I don't know.
the only more impressive thing than you getting to Texas that fast was how quickly we were able to get you Standy labeled jersey and
Yeah,
hoodie. I don't know what magician stuff
Wow.
Tyson just did to pull that off, but
That's
yeah,
magic.
yeah.
that
Listen,
was pretty
all right.
fast. I was surprised.
I would have thrown shots, man. So 100 LA Thieves picks up a rookie as well, right? You guys both made your
Hmm.
debut last week. Venom, great player from everything like I've heard and seeing, he's probably going to acclimate pretty well. But I think you not only had a better rookie first week, obviously, but also they taped someone else's hoodie and gave it to him. Like we also won the hoodie name battle. So I don't know. I'm just throwing shade. I don't know. We're proud. We're proud of being able to support our players, I
The
guess.
hoodie
But
name battle.
The
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 hoodie
hoodie
name
org
battle.
with the taped hoodies. Yeah.
Oh man,
That's
I'm
pretty
so
funny.
Nate Shaw, you're the greatest. You're the goat. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
If you quote her on Twitter, put MiDNiTE. Just make sure.
Yes,
Midnight.
it
um,
wasn't me. It's my alter ego.
I didn't
so
say it.
like, yeah, it wasn't me either. So honestly, like normally what happens in the history of Call of Duty, and we've seen it. I've always had this crazy saying I used to say, and things have changed definitely, but COD used to run on green batteries. Like Optic was like the flow, and if they were out of a tournament early, it was bad for all of us. Like it was just less people would watch. The whole timeline would be less exciting. Things have changed with franchising, but normally people would join Optic to see a bump in their social platforms and to see personal growth and more attention and impressions. You beat Optic and that happened. Like I've looked at your Twitter and seen how fast it continues to grow in your social following. Like what has that been like for you to receive, like, and for you to just all of a sudden you tweet things that you were tweeting last week and now you've got hundreds more people replying to you and responding. And I want to throw in another, because you mentioned this off camera, but what is it about you that makes that important, like your social presence and how you come off?
I think that um it's been honestly crazy. Like the support, it honestly makes me just want to keep pushing and being better for myself, better for the fans, because I know sometimes fans out there, they have some great things to say, but fans can also be negative at times, which, you know what I mean? But the support is great. Honestly, RØKKR fans are amazing. And it's not only that,
Yeah.
I've been also getting some some DMs and tweets from like even Optic fans saying that like the Optic fans are great, and like the Optic has a big fan base, but they're also like, hey, like you played really good. I'm an Optic fan, but it's kind of happy to see young talent doing good. But so I think that the support has been crazy, but I kind of seen it happening in a sense, but also it keeps me pushing, and it keeps me like striving to be better, because I want to grow, and there's nothing more than I want to be than being the best in the league. But I also want to have a good name for myself, have a big brand for myself, all that kind of good stuff. And also, I think going back to the social presence kind of topic is that a lot of these, in my opinion, like challenger players, they don't have a really good. You want to have a good social presence. You want to, even professional players, you want to bring stuff to the table that not everyone else does in a way. You kind of want to have yourself stand out in a way. And I think having a really good social presence and keeping a positive energy, keeping some good support around you really brings up the vibes and keeps you pushing. And I also think it's really important to keep that kind of thing in mind when you're playing, because socials is everything. That's how people keep up with you. That's how people learn about you. And people are always talking, especially on social media. So you wanna keep up with that stuff.
Yeah, especially on, Twitter, where I mean that's where Call of Duty lives, right? Like even the punk
Yeah,
kids, everybody on COD, like that's just where we
COD is
congregate.
Twitter.
COD
Yeah.
is Twitter. I mean Optic trended after you guys 3-0'd them. Like you did that, bro. Like that's pretty crazy. And I think like, you look at it and I think esports has a huge advantage, and I'll look at other esports and I'll never understand why some of those players aren't like. I'll look at their Twitters; they haven't tweeted in 6 days. I'm like, dude, there's
Yeah,
150,000 people watching your match. Like,
people want to see what you have to
tweet.
say.
Yeah, like so. I love the. I mean, that's one of the things I love about esports is that interactivity. Like, even you like favoriting some kid's tweet who's like, "Yo,
Yeah,
Standy, go," and then you fave it. I hope a bunch of people tweet you that
it
now.
makes them
Like,
happy.
yeah, like it's that instant. I mean, or if you turn on your
It makes
stream,
me
they
happy and I make them happy. Yeah, it's great.
exactly. Like they come holler at you in the stream, they say, hey, you acknowledge them. Like it's just a different level of accessibility between like esports players, traditional sports players. I just think it's really cool. And obviously, me being a content director for the team you just joined, super stoked to hear you say that you want to build your brand, you want to do
Yeah.
content,
You want
you want to
to have
like
the fans have a connection. You know what I mean? You want to make them feel comfortable. You want to have them learn about you, like a connection. You want to bring all that stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited for everything.
I'm becoming more and more of a Standy fan.
I'm a Standy stan, 100%.
Love what I'm
The
hearing.
second I tweeted it out, I said, "Listen, fave if you're in the Standy stand." It was like map 2 or something of the Optic series. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
all
saw
right,
that.
this kid's gonna be a
Standy
freak,
fans.
dude. Like he's gonna like go up. Someone asked in the chat, this is kind of a related question. How much are you looking forward to creating content on a much larger scale with a lot more fans? Like, so basically, have you been creating content already, or are you mostly just grinding? Or now that you see kind of, okay, I'm getting an influx of followers, I want to create content. Like, how do you view it, and how have you always viewed content versus how you view it now?
Well, I always think the grind comes first, just because the grind, the team. I'm always going to prioritize winning, but for myself, I also realize how important. Like I like streaming a lot, but also in the near future, I want to make some content, make some YouTube videos. I know that Dylan attaches a lot of that stuff, and I know that Dylan and Preston, Lamar, they can all shed a lot of good knowledge on me on how to build content. And I also know that even you guys all at RØKKR, that you guys can help me get some great opportunities and ideas for me that I can make some videos and all that stuff. So I know that it's a really important thing, and especially if you want to make it far in this kind of stuff, because yeah, I want to be the best friend in the league, but I want people to know me. I want people to know me like maybe a little bit outside of my COD life, stuff like that. So, I mean, I just think that that kind of stuff is really important. But grind always number one. I always want to win first, but I'm always gonna put in that extra little bit of time for content and all that stuff, because that stuff's important too.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Good stuff.
Go ahead, Casey. Did you have a question?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of about a team. But I want to make sure we don't have any more Standy questions before I ask. I want to make sure before
let's talk
I know
about
we
the
have time, but
bro. Yeah, let's talk
I
about
mean,
the
and so Standy, you've said you're pretty comfortable talking about the other teams in the league, and
yeah,
I think I'm not going to put you in a position where you're going to say a tweetable comment that we'll all regret.
Yeah, don't worry. I try to be very cautious about what I'm saying.
I'll be like your lawyer. I'll be like, don't answer that.
Okay, yeah.
No,
I just had to talk with Cassie about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let me tell you. I mean, and this leads into the topic, but it's one of the things that I've seen talked about recently in the community is like the power of Seth and the weight that he bears, as kind of like the image bearer of Call of Duty in a way, of esports. And he's done it for so long where he just doesn't comment on certain stuff, like ever, and it's got to be hard. I can't imagine how often because he's never the target of accusations towards Optic. It's always drop your teammates, you know. And that's got to be difficult to deal with and to not reply to all the time. However, in the last 4 matches, they've been 3-0'd 3 times, and then they won one of those matches, I believe, like versus Paris. So obviously in the Optic camp, there's not panic like you would think because they're an experienced team. But you played them. From your stand as a former Challengers player and now a pro player, what is going on from the outside of being another pro, you know, that you are now, and looking across the aisle at them? Like, what do you think is going on or could be going on in the Optic camp that's affecting their gameplay?
So when you look at that Optic roster, it's like, wow, like these guys are phenomenal. Like you have really big names, you have really nasty players, Scump the King, you know what I mean? Like everyone, they're all great players, everyone strives to be like them, but there always comes a time where a team's gonna have their bad days, they're not gonna perform.
Right.
I don't really know too much about what's happening over there because obviously I'm not there, I'm not in their practices. I know they do stream scrims, but you always just got to make sure you're always improving and getting a really head start and always moving and improving in the COD scene in game because you can't get caught behind, especially because like if you're not grinding right now, I'm not saying they aren't grinding because they obviously are,
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah.
you're not always like watching VOD and preparing and being ready and doing anything you can have to your advantage. There's someone out there that is doing more to get that slight advantage over you and to do whatever it takes to win a match. And I think it really just shows that, I mean, I don't really think they're doing too bad. I have hope that they're going to get better. They are, because they're still a solid team. They're still top three in the league for sure. But I mean, there comes a time where sometimes teams don't do that too well. So I think maybe they got to go back and look a little bit deeper into things. Maybe look at their S&D strategies, because I know they have been lacking in search and destroy. I think they really are a solid respawn team, but I think they can be a little bit more take a little bit more risk in search and destroy. I think, if you want me to be honest, I think they can definitely go back and maybe improve some of their search and destroy strategies.
I wonder too, because their struggles seem to coincide with that pretty big meta change. So I wonder if that's a factor.
That too.
Optic traditionally, I mean, listen, like I said, I was part of the team for 9 years. I watched every Optic match. I've literally watched every Optic match ever. So there's some times where they just come out flat and you can't explain it. You're like, hold on, this isn't, them. This isn't the Optic I know. And it'll happen to the best of them. It's all about how they bounce back, though. And I guess, it's definitely, they shouldn't be hitting the eject button at all. But it does start to get scary, if you have a bad stage, or you keep, like, if you have like a few mediocre stages and then a bad stage, you're on the brink of not making
the bottom
playoffs.
4 teams don't make champs. Yeah, like all that stuff. Like that is crazy to me, honestly. Like you got to make sure you're like you got to be heads up. You got to be grinding. And honestly, like, yeah, I mean, you got to keep grinding. You can't get like not making playoffs champs. Like that's got to be tough for sure. So
yeah,
that's even a bigger reason why to always keep your head down and grind and all that stuff.
It's crazy. Optic traditionally, they have a pretty quick start to the games too. They learn the games pretty quick, and then there's always these meta adjustments. And I don't know. I think they'll turn it around. They've got a ton of smart people over there. They're veterans. They're gonna figure this out. I think my favorite, quote that we've got from you so far is just, playing against pro players is different because they actually clutch up and like maybe do the right things in some of those really intense situations. So I just think that's really interesting, and they have a ton of experience over there. I feel bad for Sender, right? Like when they lose, he gets shit on, and when they win, he gets no credit, it seems like. So shout out Coach Sender. I believe in the guys. They'll turn it around.
Everyone has their bad days.
Yes, exactly. I want Optic
to
win.
Honestly, everyone wants to see Optic do well, at least. Everyone, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's gotta happen. I mean, listen, they're
my
second.
They're gonna
I thought I'd say it, but they're still
a top team. But yeah, same here.
They'll figure it out. I mean, so this is kind of my question, and not at all related to Optic, because we're talking about some of the most storied and veteran players over there. But you talked about, the challenger scene. They're playing a lot more frequently. That whole like path to pro system. dude, it's working. It started working last year. You
Yeah.
saw, the likes of Mac Melts going on to New York. You got kids coming up this year, you included. It's nuts to see that opportunity, get taken by teams, and they see the talent. They're like, listen, something's not working. We need to go like pick up someone fresh. I think it's kind of interesting that in the challengers, it's like you're playing to win, obviously, and you did. Like, you won challengers champs. That's insane. But like, it seems like there's so many team changes all the time. Like, every week, if they don't do well in the cup, they're like, oh, I'm switching up. And it seems like they might be playing for a lot of individual statistics. Get their player card looking nice and start trying to, get
All
on
that.
orgs' radars. I respect it. But it's just crazy to me that the system's actually starting to work, and I feel like we're going to start to see a real turning of the tide in terms of some of these veteran players who are in the league on teams, and they're comfortable. They're there with people they know their coach, or whatever the case may be across the league. But you've got, it's like we said, this is the first year ever there's only been 8 teams at champs. That's insane. So if you're a franchise right now and you're invested in this thing, you're like, listen, everybody's competitive. We want to make at least champs, get us there, and you never know what could happen, right? I think we're going to see more team changes the more some of these teams they continue to perform. It's going to get crazy soon.
For sure.
That's why I'm just glad we got you. Holy cow, I feel like
at the end of the day,
coming here, man. Let's go.
At the end of the day, let's go. No problem. But
let's go.
I think that these are franchises. They want to have a good brand and they want to have a good org. But at the end of the day, I think the true goal of these franchises is obviously to grow their name, get out there. But I think the true goal of some of these teams, the priority should be to win. You know what I mean? If you really want to grow, at the end of the day, you gotta win. You gotta win. You gotta be up there. And I think that there's definitely honestly, I don't want to say there's a lot of challenger players that could definitely get a free spot in the league or anything like that, but you definitely got to earn it. And there's a giant pool, but there's definitely a solid few players that you can definitely choose from if your team's not performing so well. And there always will be, you know what I mean? There's always going to be teams in the league that's not doing so well. There's always going to be players that might be performing under how they really do. And it's even now you see some players that maybe could drop back down into the challenger scene and then build their name back up and get another opportunity. You know what I mean? It's it's a constant lever and a pulley type of system. If you aren't winning, everyone has in the back of their head a change could happen. And you know what I mean? That's why you always got to keep your head forward and keep moving, because you don't want to get caught behind in that kind of problem.
Look, you guys win. I'll take care of the rest. All right, I'll create some content. We'll get you guys followers. We'll make it big. You guys win, and we'll make the rest happen for you. I think it's really that's a solid way to grow, of course. Kingdom, go ahead though. I cut you off. I had to.
I was gonna say, Standy said you mentioned dropping down into challengers, and you touched on it, MiDNiTE, but the league is changing, and it still comes back to the same. All of the challenges in competitive Call of Duty can be traced back to the fact that the game changes every year. It makes consistency difficult. It makes team consistency difficult. It makes keeping players on the same.
Harder.
It is, because even there's players in the league right now that if this was a different game, they not only would be best on a different team, they might even be best in a different role. And then you have challengers players who probably are better right now than some of the pros in the league. And there's been a little movement by Methods talks a lot on the flank, and it's probably because he is a victim of this. And I'm saying the word victim, I'm using it loosely, but he basically is it's hard because now you have pros who have literally played forever, built up a reputation for themselves. It's not like any other sport where, you know what, Carmelo Anthony, you're having a bad couple of games. We're going to swap you out, but you're not going to the bench. You're going to the D League.
Dropped on your neck, man.
Melo would be no, I quit. I'm not going to the D League. And so, to your point, though, Standy, talking about going back to challengers, that may have to be a realistic flow for some of our pro players. If you can't go to the bench, then you just go to challengers and grind. Because you guys are proving over the last, we've got Wake, we've got Diamond Con, we've got Mac Melts, we've got yourself, we've got Paul X. We've got people that just continue to come in and they perform well. What would you do if you're a team and your team is not performing well? Yes, if you stuck together over time, the team would get better. You look at a Dallas Empire, haven't had a team change in over a year, and you can't ever count them out of a series, ever. Because they've played together so long, the communication is on point. So I like your point about stepping down to challengers for pros. I'm not going to make you talk about that as a challenger, but I did want to ask, in your match against Dallas, where you're now playing against another top 3 team, you went from playing the most storied franchise,
by the way,
to the winningest player of all time, the GOAT, 3 rings, like, and you can't ever count this guy out. You can't ever count his team out. What were those last couple of rounds in Search and Destroy like? What did your team do to pull out that win?
Honestly, I felt like there's more pressure in that Dallas match than there was against Optic, because once we beat Optic, it's like, hey, like, we did it, but there's no pressure before that match. Obviously, in that match, I wasn't pressured, but like, it was still a little bit stressful because, and like, there was a little bit of pressure in that Dallas match just because, like, hey, like, if we really win this match, like, we can get winners in this stage too. Like, we can get winners. Like, we can really make this happen. And I mean, right when before that last match started, I was like, hey, like, okay, like, S&D, like, this is what we wanted against these guys. Like, if we want to take this series right now, we're a newer team. Like, we got to take this S&D. And I just think that the team went in with that mindset, like, hey, we're going to be confident in our ability. We're going to make plays, and whatever happens, happens. But we're going to do our best to win and try to do whatever it takes. And there's definitely, like, throughout that series, a few moments where it's like, we could have definitely played that better, a little bit of mistakes here and there. But at the same time, like, we're still a new team. We're working on that kind of stuff. We're trying to improve. But I think you just have to go in those kind of rounds like, hey, like, I don't care who I'm playing against. I'm just going to go in there and be confident in myself and try to do what I think needs to be done to win. So, I mean, that's just the kind of mindset you got to have going into those matches. So.
Well, GG's.
Yeah, I love the confidence on display. I mean, I'll admit, you know, when I heard about the roster change, I was like, okay, yeah, clearly like something was not working or clicking right there. And then, okay, yeah, let's up the pace. Let's get this, you know, freakazoid sub in here, Standy. Let's see what he could do. I mean, I had high expectations just because, like I said, I've heard the gas. Saint's been excited about you for a bit. And I'm like, okay, you know, hopefully he'll have, you know, a debut kind of like, you know, on par with, you know, what we saw, you know, last year and even this year in CDL. And then you just blew it out of the water in your first match. So I could definitely imagine, you know, going into that Dallas match, you're like, okay, wait, so now, you know, the contrast from last weekend to this weekend is insane. Let's see if we can do it. You know, I think, you know, coming out, losing the hard point, you know, you guys showed really great resolve to bounce back in the search. My question is, you know, what I was worried about when I heard about the roster change was, like, if you're changing a team, like Search and Destroy is the hardest game mode to, like, just slot somebody into and be good, because there's, you know, there's a lot of kind of roles and just stuff going on there. So how, like, do you just have a ton more S&D reps because of how many Challengers Cups you've played, or what do you attribute, like, the S&D success to? I mean, obviously we have a great S&D team. You got Lamar, you got Attach, you got Musa, all good Search players, but, like, talk about just coming in and excelling at Search, which is one of the harder game modes to come in and excel at.
Personally, I think I feel like I'm pretty consistent in, like, all game modes, but I'm really good at being kind of like that playmaker in Search and Destroy and making plays on the map. But we only had like a few days of practice, like 2, 3, 4 days of practice. And if you want me to be honest, like, those days of practice, like, we put in like an insane amount of time and like went over strategies, went over efforts. And you know what I mean? Like, I also had a lot of strategies from my old challenger teams. A lot of these, for example, like, I know a lot of strategies that work really well because I've played in a lot of these tournaments, and challenger players are really good. Like, it's not like they're like, it's a huge gap from pros to challengers. So it's like, I've been in a lot of these situations, a lot of these situations play out, and I know like some of the worst case possibilities that can happen. So like, I think I shed some of my knowledge on them, and they also shed some of their knowledge on me, and it was just a pretty good collaboration. And we came together as a collective group and played really well in that S&D. And I think we were just confident in our playmaking ability and just made the call and would commit to it. So I mean, that's just what you got to do.
That's awesome, man.
Taking over lockers, man.
Yeah, just it's great to see. You love to see people's early success, and I love what's happening with you guys with the Minnesota RØKKR in general. Like, this whole show is different than it would have been, depending on the results. And we had talked about it, and it was kind of like, well, we have high expectations, but there's nothing to lose. It's a new team, and you guys just came out and like woke up. I mean, but the team you're playing that you have for your last match, which of course is important for you to get in that winner's bracket, has also been showing up drastically different in this second stage.
Can't take them lightly at all.
With a 3-1 over Florida, 3-0 over Paris, and they lost to Dallas in a Game 5 round 11. They took Dallas almost as far, basically the same length you guys did. So when you're like in that search, and so like I would say, I kind of wanted to ask, like, everybody, a lot of pros, a lot of challengers players, everybody talks about watching VOD. Now, I know you can't give up your VOD strategy, and this is what we watch for, and this is, like, I'm not asking for that. However, if you could share kind of for the viewing audience, like, when you're watching VOD on a team, like, because you guys are obviously going to watch some VOD for Seattle, because they're playing different. They're not as predictable as they were 2 weeks ago. And so when you guys are watching VOD, what are you looking for when you're watching VOD in general? You know what I'm saying? Like, as a pro player, what are you looking for when you're watching VOD going into a match like this very important, critical one you have coming up?
I think watching VOD, I mean, you can always watch VODs of pro teams and like maybe catch some of their strategies, but I think a really good pro team, like, all these guys are professionals for a reason. They're not going to give you the same look over and over and over. You know what I mean? They're out constantly changing it up, constantly advancing, and that's the same thing that we're going to do as a team as well. But I also think that, like, watching VOD, I think as a team, like, sometimes you see a little bit of the same mistakes happen and then you kind of just cut down on them. Like, hey, like, we messed up on this certain situation a few times, so we got to get better on this. And there's just like some rule of thumbs, like, within Hardpoint, within S&D, like, I think what a lot of players need to understand, like, if they want to get better and improve, is like, you got to let plays develop. Like, it's kind of like it's like a chess game in this way. Like, this guy does this, and then you don't want to die and make a play here, and then like then this guy makes a play, and then this guy makes his move. You know what I mean? It's not like you want to make it as coordinated and as much as a teamwork kind of game as you can. And you don't want to just be kind of like running around and just doing whatever you think you should do, because you want to have good strategy, you want to have good game plans, and you want to use like everything to your advantage that you can to win without having to like world star people or like turn on people. You know what I mean? Like, you want to you want to use like, hey, if we can double nade this guy, hey, free kill from a nade. I don't have to gun that guy. Like, you want to use everything you can rather than having to use your raw ability. So I mean, I think a lot of players, if they really want to improve that, you got to understand that kind of concept of COD. Like, you got to let these plays develop. You got to understand that good teams and good players, they're going to have every lane watched. They're going to have the lanes cut down. They're not going to give you freebies. So you got to understand that, like, hey, if this guy gets this kill, it might open up a gap in this part of the setup, and then that's when you make your move, all that kind of stuff. So I think that just comes from watching a lot of COD, playing for a lot of years, and really just like thinking a little bit deeper into things. It's not really all about just running around and, hey, I'm gunning this guy, I'm so much better. You know what I mean? There's a lot of more there's a thinking processes that goes into these kind of things. So it's really important.
The guy in the chat, I see, he said Standy talking and playing like a veteran. And it's like, honestly, that's what FaZe is doing that's keeping them above everyone, is they could world star. They can win their ones, but they push as a team and they work as a team and they work together.
Exactly. You always want to try to use that other stuff as a secondary resort, but you always want to use the team strategy, always have the game plan come first, and then like, if you are in those moments and if you're good enough to get the world star play, like, get the gunny out, like, hey, go for it, do your thing, like, show out. But like, you always just want to make sure you're doing the right thing, making sure the team's on the same page, reiterating like important things. So yeah, that's what I'd have to say about that topic.
So if you're up by 15 or so lives, you can assassinate someone, right? That's acceptable.
Okay, yeah, maybe you can add a little bit of fun here and there. Go for it.
You gotta flex on them a little bit. Yeah, that's worth flexing on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they earned it.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, you were world starring people, and not only people, but like some of the best to ever do it. So clearly, you got the gunny, but it's been really impressive hearing kind of your answers to these questions, your thought process, just seeing like how quickly you've been able to mesh, with the team has been very impressive. Like I said, I'm the COD League grandma. I've watched all the I watch all the matches. I watch players enter. I watch the progression that you see. It sometimes takes a while. I don't think this is a flash in the pan. Oh yeah, cool. Standy went off and now they're gonna regress. Like, you made an immediate impact on this team, and I know with the players that are on this roster with you, the great coaching staff, shout out Brian and Jake, they're going to make sure to hone you guys, make sure you're pointing the right direction, you're meshing well. And I think you bring another layer of pace to this team that we needed. And I'm just stoked. Tell me about like you've probably had quite a few sub duos through your time. Have you always been a submachine gun player? Like, you've always been like the crack sub?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
always been
talk about.
I always wanted to be a
sub. Let me know. Attach is now your sub duo. How cool is that? Like, if you've been like watching him a long time, like, what's it like kind of having a sub duo in Attach? Because you guys are both nasty together.
Attach is crazy. Like, he's a freaking beast. Like, there's so many things I could say about him. Like, honestly, as a teammate, like, I really do look up to him. Honestly, like, he really he's like inspirational in a way to me. Like, I can learn from him. He can shed a lot of knowledge on me. But the one thing that I really love about him is that, like, hey, like, he's also really willing to like learn from me and hear what I gotta say as well about like getting better and improving. And I really think he's a really nice kid, and he's really passionate about the game. He brings the energy, he brings the comms. Like, there's really not much you can get. He's a world champion. He's won chips before. I think that, like, for me, my first sub duo in the league, me and Attach, like, it's like, hey, like, it can't get better than this. You know what I mean? Like, he's a freaking beast. And out of a lot of the teams in the league, like, if there's a sub duo that I'd want, like, Attach is definitely like that guy. Like, you know what I mean? He's an overall well-rounded, great player, and he brings a lot to a team. And I feel like recently, maybe in the past year or two, he might have been like a little bit undervalued in a sense, in a little bit. He's obviously the GOAT still, but like, I feel like he's been a little bit underrated, and I really feel like
a little bit, yeah.
He's such a dominant player. Like, when I watch him play, when I watch Preston play, when I watch Lamar play, like, they're all beasts. Like, they're crazy. Like, I watch them and I think, like, wow, like, now I know why these guys are pro players. Like, I know why they've been in the league so long. So it really just I try to take what they say to I really try to take what they say to me serious, and I really learn from it, because they shed some great knowledge onto me.
Well, listen, I mean, I just tried to look this up because I want to be sure when I say it. But I believe Attach is the youngest player ever to win champs. And his first major LAN victory came at champs in Advanced Warfare. I'm no pressure, but what sick footsteps to follow in if you can. What, like, even just him as a mentor, like mentoring you, whether it's for like being turning you into an even better player than you already are, doing great content. Like, I just, Dylan's a great kind of mentor to have. So shout out Dylan, nicest guy you can meet. And Dylan. Like, he just got voted by, well, I don't know, maybe it was just one person's anecdotal thoughts, but he just got voted most handsome in the CDL, so that he's got a lot going for him, basically.
I saw that.
It's pretty funny. He's like, geez, the gas, man.
He's a handsome guy.
It's super cool. He is, yeah. All right, man, we don't want to take up too much more. We don't want to take up too much more of your time. We'd love to run through the predictions for this week with you, and then I got some rapid fire Q&A to throw your way at the end, and we'll let you get back to your night. You guys have been practicing a lot, so yeah, let's check out the predictions. Oh my gosh, shout out Shannon, the producer, putting them on the screen. I don't have to look at them. I don't have to like try to go cross-eyed looking at you and the shout out Shannon. All right, so here we got the matches. We typically go one at a time, and I think we should again here. We can go in order, top, me to bottom. Does that mean we'll rotate up and down? We could start here Thursday. Dallas Empire versus Florida Mutineers. I wish I'd like better taken a look at the groups, because I'm not really sure like the if and when scenarios of like who do we really want to win in that match. Yeah, I guess Dallas. We'd want Dallas to win.
For
because,
you guys?
Yeah.
You just need to beat Surge,
like to
in my
help.
opinion, to get to
We
winners.
just need to beat Surge and win. All right, let's try that.
I think so.
But
that's your best bet. Win that.
It's the best bet. So yeah, Florida. Yeah, so let's look at the predictions here. We've got Dallas Empire versus Florida Mutineers. Standy, who do you got? And maybe give a little bit of why. You don't have to go too in detail, but
I'm gonna go with Dallas 3-1. I think Mutineers might take that S&D or might take the control, but I think Dallas is a really solid respawn team, and if Mutineers do want to win that, they're gonna have to come out with a lot of fire in the respawn game modes.
man, I'm just gonna end up stealing all Standy's predictions. I think 3-1-2. Not stealing, but I mean, great minds think alike. I think 3-1-2, and you make great points. You know, unless like Wake and Skies can just keep going absolutely bonkers like they have been, it's gonna be tough. Dallas Empire, I mean, they're kind of in a rocky scenario now, right? Because you guys just took them down a peg, so they're gonna come back with the heat. I'm nervous for Florida. Kingdom, what do you think? What's your prediction?
So last week I said that I thought Dallas was going to go 4-1 and that their only loss was going to be to the RØKKR. And I'm going to stick with that. And so I think that they're going to win. However, the best scenario for you guys would probably be for them to lose because you have the head-to-head over them. But you don't have the head-to-head over Florida.
Word.
So you want Dallas to get another L. Like, that would be helpful.
Let's go, Florida! Come on, Skies, you can do it. Let's go.
I'm going to say 3-1.
Let's go, Skies!
Big way.
This guy's bueno. You can do this, bro. That's good intel, Kingdom. I didn't really think about it like that. I think Dallas will probably win though. So hey, I mean, let's control our own destiny. Let's take out Surge. Speaking of Surge, Optic Chicago versus Seattle Surge. Wow, that Thursday's got banger matches, dude. Standy, what are you thinking about? Optic Chicago. They're in a scenario where they need to turn it around, right? They've just taken 2 L's in a row. That's not like them, but they're going against a Surge team that's really been, I mean, they've been drowning them out. Like, they've been doing well lately. What do you think? What's your prediction?
I'm going to go with 3-2 Optic. So my reasoning behind that is, like, Optic, yeah, they've been having their tough times, but I really think they're going to try to hone down these last few days and come out with a W. But I also really know that you can't underestimate the Surge. They've been literally frying in the last few days, so last few matches, stuff like that. So I think that Surge might take a respawn, might take an S&D, but I think Optic is going to have that ice Game 5.
Nice. I think Optic's going to it's so hard to say. I think Optic's going to 3-1 them. They'll probably drop the Surge. But I don't know, man. Surge has looked a lot better, but could you imagine? I don't want to play an angry Optic. If they're going to have, like, Seattle Surge is going to have to come absolutely correct and perfect to take down the green wall there, because it's going to be, they're fired up. They've got to be. So I'm going 3-1. Kingdom, what do you think?
So, scenarios again. If Dallas wins, or they'd have to lose. So, ultimately, these matches could end up with you guys being in second place with you going into Saturday, I think, in the group.
Wait, so if Florida wins,
because if Chicago beats Seattle, then it would come down to your guys' match versus them.
Destiny's in our own hands. It's all you can ask for sometimes.
Yeah, it'd be great. You guys will be top 2 in the group leaving this weekend. So I would say, this is a hard one. 3-2 Optic. They need a W desperately. This is not we know Optic, they know themselves, they talk about it publicly. This is not a good team when they're losing, consistently especially. Early on in a game when Optic is losing, Seth gets uninspired, and then he's such a big personality and a great person. Like, you need him laughing and being fun, and like, you need that for your team. You need that juice from Seth. And so I think Optic needs the win. I think it'll be 3-2 to Optic. And if they don't win that, of course, they're pretty much guaranteed losers bracket. So it's a must win for Optic.
And we want Optic to win, right? Like, I could cheer for them without feeling weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. We want Optic to win.
I'm trying to cheer. Yeah. I'm gonna try to cheer for Optic, but also
they can't really pass you guys unless
You goddamn right. I mean, yeah. Hopefully we go off without a hitch here. Florida Mutineers versus Paris Legion. Man, still can't believe we lost to them. I'm so salty. I don't know, man. What do you think, Eli? Florida Mutineers, Paris Legion, they've looked up and down, both those teams, but they're both a little bit on and up. What do you think?
I'm gonna come out with the hot 3-0 for Florida over Paris. I think Paris has been a
Oh
little
my
bit
God.
struggling lately, but I just have a feeling that Florida might come out with the fire and shut them down.
I mean, yeah, if our predictions are right and Florida does lose to Dallas, maybe they'll be inspired, extra inspired on Saturday, because that way you're kind of in that do or die scenario versus Paris there. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Paris has looked really good at times, and then sometimes like close, but just not able to pull it out. If they get the best version of Florida, I think Florida beats them 3-1. I don't even know, maybe three. I'm gonna guess 3-1. We have like a little stat sheet that we track all our predictions in. So we're actually tracking our predictions. So I do try to say the maps and stick to it, but I'll probably change my mind in 5 minutes. Anyway, Kingdom, what do you think? Florida versus Paris.
I'm gonna say 3-1. I don't even think. I think if they play at 80, well, let's say 85%, 90%. I think Paris has a difficulty closing. Florida, we'll see what they're coming off of with that Dallas match. I think they win. I think Paris gets kind of guaranteed bottom of the group at that point. And Florida could be putting themselves basically confirmed top 2 or top 3 with their head-to-head matchups. And so I think that's an important win. It's an important victory for Florida, and I think they'll pull it out 3-1.
You know what I just realized? I went from Thursday to Saturday again because of how the graphic looks.
Oh yeah, we
Dang
did that
it.
last week.
I did that last week too.
Oh, we did.
Hey, we'll do Friday
I
after
thought it was
Saturday. Hold
top to
on.
bottom as well.
Same.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
weird
it makes
graphic.
sense that it's. Well, I mean, they should make it left to right. It makes sense, but also like I'm
Yeah,
just
left to right.
All right, the most fun prediction to ask one of our own players to make. Standy, what do you think? RØKKR versus Surge. Do you have a prediction for how the match is going to go? Maybe even kind of just a thought on the match in general, like Surge in general. What do you think?
I think we can't underestimate the Surge. I'm not gonna say my take on the map count, but a RØKKR W.
Let's go. I'll say my map count. Listen, because Surge they've gotten better a lot, like markedly. Like they were a team where they were doing so bad that I was starting to feel bad. And so now that they've turned it around, I'm like, all right, go on, like do your thing. Except for I don't want that to happen on Saturday. I'm gonna go with a 3-1 to RØKKR. I'm very biased. I always predict RØKKR to win. I'm a homer. I'm allowed to just be blatant about it. So yeah, 3-1, RØKKR over Surge. Let's hope for the best. We'll see how it goes. Kingdom, what do you think?
I think that the change in meta, while some people have said removing XM4 has kind of crippled Dashy a little bit, I think it's let Sam LaRue a little bit more loose, and he's not like frying, but he's playing at his level. I think the whole team is just playing better. I hear of other meta changes coming down the road with the giant patch or whatever that's coming, or update. But I'm gonna say that the Surge are gonna come out and they're gonna keep surging. However, I stand with Standy, and I think you guys are gonna win this. I'm gonna say 3-1. Yeah, I think Minnesota wants to come out going into the major like, be afraid of us. Like, we're gonna see you in the winners finals, whoever you are. Like, and so I think 3-1.
One can only hope, man. I just hope whatever's. I mean, really, yeah. The 3 matches ahead of ours could dictate just how much Destiny's in our hands for that Surge match, and what implications we could have, going into the seeding, whether it's the upper bracket, lower bracket for majors. Very, very key matches for us Thursday and Saturday. To the final match on Saturday, we've got New York Subliners versus Toronto Ultra. Thoughts, Standy? I don't. This. Yeah. What do you think?
3-2 NYSL. 3-2
Let's
NYSL.
go. He gave Toronto some bats. I dig it.
I think Toronto has definitely been improving with Insight, but I also think New York has been a really, really solid team. So I mean, I think Toronto definitely has a possibility of beating them, but NYSL has been looking really solid. So yeah, I think NYSL 3-2.
I think New York Subliners 3-0 They're not going to do that whole let's go down 0-2, then rip 3 in a row. They're going to put it away, I hope, or I think. No offense. Well, I should say I hope, even though, you know, us being the real North, you know, always want Toronto to be down south on the group leaderboards. But no, I think just Clayster, everything he's been able to do with that Subliners team has been really impressive, and I think they'll look impressive versus Ultra. Kingdom, what are your thoughts?
You could almost call the New York Subliners the most consistent team in the CDL this year, besides the most dominant team, which is, you know, the 35-9 map count phase. But I think like the New York Subliners have been so consistent. When they lose like game 5, round 11. They've 3-0'd multiple teams. They've reverse swept twice. Like they just don't stop. You just can't count this team out. They just keep punching and punching and punching, and they're playing amazing. And yeah, Clayster's yelling a lot, but it's working. And I think they're going to come out and 3-0 the Ultra.
Bro, Clayster yelling just reminds me of Ponytail Clay back on Black Ops 2 with the foul, just on main stage screaming. He's still bringing that energy all these years later. It's so cool. I'm a Clay fan. Yeah. I mean, shout out to Toronto. I guess so this is the next prediction, Friday. Toronto versus London Royal Ravens. How do you think they'll fare there, Standy? What's your prediction for Toronto versus London on Friday?
That's a tough one. I think I'd go with Paul X has been playing well, and Zed's been playing well, and I think this is a new London Royal Ravens roster, and I think you're going to get a 3-1 out of the Ravens.
Man, I feel bad for Toronto because I'm just gonna 3-0 them again. Listen, maybe I'm a salty Methods fan. I don't know. I think Insight is really good. He's clearly a very good player, but so is Methods. I don't think with Insight coming in for Methods really improves that team that much more. I really am curious as to if there's chemistry reasons or why they really did that. And I wish they would come out and explain some of their roster techniques. But hey, I'm interested to see them maybe turn it around. You never want a team to do horrifically bad. But yeah, I don't know. I just bring Methods back. I'm Team Methods. No Zinni, no Winnie. 3-0 London. Paul X is a big part of that, obviously, too. And then you got Zed, you know, Shawnee. Dylan's frying again. So yeah, they're a scary team. What do you think, Kingdom? Toronto versus London, where you at?
3-1 London. Paul X has been playing really well. Zed, and Dylan have, I mean, somebody said, I heard him say the other day, they should never stop playing together. They just play so well as a duo. It's like old school, like watching Zuma and Attach play or Standy and Attach. You know, it's like there's a chemistry with movement and speed and pace that makes sense for their team. London all of a sudden overnight became a scary threat, and so I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna 3-1 though. I don't think they're gonna 3-0 them. So I'm gonna go 3-1 London. And I'll add, I think Methods is suffering from main AR woes. You know, there's one AR per team this year. There's 12 teams. When people are talking trades, they're always talking to SMGs, like trading out the SMG players, trading out the SMG players. For the first time ever, I heard somebody mention today, Thieves should consider trading Austin, like Slasher, because of
I know what who said that.
Wild takes. I'm not
that's the IGL, man.
That's one bold take. Now that's a bold take.
That's a bold take.
Listen,
and they said that
because
they need a big change. They said they obviously that core 3 has to change. I would think TJ if I'm trading any of them, but hey, to each his own opinion. But in my opinion, that's what Methods is suffering from, is the whole main AR thing right now in the league. When we had 5 players, you could really stand to have more players that were like him. But now that there's just 4 people, unfortunately, changes get made like that. It's a tough choice. I mean, you guys had to make a tough choice, for those AR roles. And so, anyway, going back to it, 3-1 London.
Yeah, I mean, it's main AR is the toughest position, I think, to hold and then to find again, right? Because like you say, there's so many limited spots in the league, and then on top of it, the roster is downsizing this year. I feel for Zinni, like I said, it's no shade to Inside. I think he's a great player too. I'm not sure Zinni was the issue there on that team. And I'm not even sure what I don't know anything. Standy's been playing against them for a whole week and a half now, so he probably knows way more than me. But yeah, it's interesting to think about. All right, final day here, boys. Atlanta FaZe versus London Royal Ravens.
We skipped over.
We just gassed up London.
Lag.
Oh, did I? Oh man, no disrespect to lag.
I mean, we don't
I
really
have the
need
same
to.
answer for both.
3-0.
I have the same answer for both. No disrespect to the teams, but I mean, I got the 3-0. I got the 3-0 for both of them.
So 3-0 FaZe versus Gorillas.
I'll come out and say it.
I'll come out and say
it. The 6-0.
So what you're saying,
FaZe
Standy, is you're saying that the Atlanta FaZe are gonna walk into the major with a 41-9 record.
Possibly. I mean, I think the matches could go 3-1. Maybe like LAG or London take the S&D, but maybe. Like, I still think that the matchups, yeah, FaZe are definitely taking both those wins, especially with how they've been playing. So,
same. I agree.
I like FaZe 3-0 versus Gorillas. Shout out Silly Assault, them boys. It's FaZe is looking really good. However, now this is like a logic versus logic discussion going on in my head. Obviously, I think FaZe will win with ease over London, but maybe not. What if they don't? What if I try to throw out an upset and just try to get some more prediction points this week and say London's going to upset FaZe 3-2. FaZe took their foot off the gas. They got the best whatever seed. They don't care. London cares. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to get some prediction points here. Maybe it could happen. Maybe it doesn't. But hey, I'm taking London 3-2. Kingdom, what do you think?
3-0 and
the LAG match too. Sorry.
Yeah, 3-0 for the LAG match. I want to say 3-0, but I'm going to say 3-1, and they'll be 41-10. But I will say I know those guys are chasing the glory of this kind of winning streak. They'll be like 13-0 or 14 in a row, like matches. And right now, I think we talked about this weeks ago, but Alec, Simp, and Abizi have not lost a match for like 3 years or something crazy. Like I'm gonna have to go look at what their record is. So basically, yeah, if you go back, you have to skip over last year because they weren't together. But if you go all the way back to before they won champs, yeah, like those three together, they have this ridiculous win record together as a trio. So
that's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. So I think it's gonna be 3-0, and then I'll give 3-1 over London.
Man, I'm not going to change my prediction because I do want some cool upset points if it happens, but you're right. They probably will care on Sunday. Not that they wouldn't. I mean, listen, we're all competitors here. We got LA Thieves next versus Los Angeles Gorillas. Man, LA Thieves. I'm wondering, they're going to have quite a few days between their last match and this match. So maybe they'll be a little more tuned up, and, it's the Battle of LA. Standy, what do you think? Thieves versus Gorillas. Who takes it?
I think LAG could come out with the fire, but I think LA Thieves are going to hit the lab, improve a little bit. But I do think it's going to be a tight series. So I think I'm going to go with a 3-1 LA Thieves. I want to say a 3-2, but I'm going to go with the 3-1 over LA Thieves. So, or 3-1 for LA Thieves. So, yeah.
I dig it. I think they're going to 3-0 them. I feel so bad for Gorillas, but I think something's off there within that. I know that they did higher than expected in stage 1, but yeah, I think LA Thieves, now that they've had more time to integrate Venom, they might look pretty nasty. We'll see. I mean, this one's one you could kind of toss it up, but I'm going to go with LA Thieves 3-0. Kingdom, your thoughts?
Switching it up, I'm going to go with LA Gorillas. 3-1. I know, hot take. Now, that's if the LA Thieves don't make a team change. If they make a team change, who knows?
You think they might make another?
Oh, yeah.
You think?
It's not...
Before this next match?
Possibly.
Shoot,
everybody keeps talking about it.
Who would they change?
They're right now... Oh, see, you're asking hard questions. I think Tej, but unfortunately,
he hasn't played. You can't replace. If they replace Tej this early after how he's been playing, they got to get better.
They're in 5th right now. if they lose this match, go into the losers bracket. They're so heady right now. Like they're up here, it seems like, when they're playing. They're just not in the right place. They're not playing together. You can see how frustrated they are when matches are over. Austin, last 2 matches, knocks his camera down. The second match, he is gone, and you don't even see him after they lose. Like, the vibes can't be high.
They're on the same
Enable,
together
who's
too, right?
right. Well, and Enable, who's in the org, was on a show and basically said, yeah, they're probably going to change now. You know, like, it's unfortunate scenes, but they're in 5th. They have a chance to stay in the top 8. They're going to do everything in their power, in my opinion. As an organization, Nadeshot is not making champs. Like, that's just not going to happen.
True.
And so I think he'll do whatever it takes. I think that if this team even wins against the Gorillas, they're going to already be considering a change, making some phone calls, all that kind of stuff, trying to figure out who could come in and make a difference. And I think the LA Gorillas are going to come out like, we've got to win something. Like, we've got to win something. We just got beat up by FaZe. Like, we got it 2 days ago. We got to win something. And I think they're going to win. It's going to be an upset alert, but I think 3-1 to the Gorillas, and it'll be the end of that Thieves roster if they're still together.
Yeah, dang. I love the bold prediction, bold takes. I dig it. Now, to the Grand Marquis match, or Gamefield Grand, whatever, the big one, the end of this is the one we all want to see. Dallas Empire versus Optic Chicago on Sunday night. Just 2 Titans, 2 Goliaths, 2 teams that got beat by RØKKR last week. Standy, what are your thoughts, predictions for the series? I'm sorry to lead into you that way, but I just had to do it.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Yes, what's your cat's name?
Nala. Yo, she left, but I got 2 cats. I got Nala and Simba. I know it's not original, but they're so cute. I'll send you a picture. They're adorable. They're always
Simba's
my
been
little
on the
desk
timeline
homies
for a
while I'm
minute.
working. Yeah. I've been posting.
I think I'm gonna throw a curveball here. So I'm gonna go with I think Optic is gonna hit the lab and come out with the fire, and I think I'm gonna go with Optic 3-2. Honestly, I think they're gonna make some adjustments, and I just feel like a Dallas versus Optic matchup is just one of those kind of matchups where both teams are gonna be going so hard, just like battling it out, and I think Optic's gonna come out with a 3-2.
I like the prediction. I don't know what to predict. I mean, my second favorite team is Optic Chicago, so I want them to win. I want whatever team that's going to possibly favor us. Well, no, it doesn't really matter because we beat both of them. What am I saying? We'll be fine. Listen, I think Optic's going to win this. We'll be fine. I think Optic's going to win this. Empire are not looking like their typical selves right now. Neither is Optic, but I don't know. This is going to be a really telling week for Optic Chicago, in my opinion. Like you said, LA Thieves, some of these other teams, like, it's only stage 2, but we're already getting to that point in the season where it's like you're looking at the standings and the points, and you're like, holy goodness, we need to make champs. It's already that kind of nervousness. But for those 2 teams in particular, you know, they're obviously on top, towards the top of the standings, so they're going to be all right. But just, yeah, performances you're not used to seeing out of them. I think Optic bounces back. 3-2. I don't know how they do it other than that, but I hope they do. We'll see. Kingdom, what do you think?
Yeah.
So a few things. Number one, Optic is only 40 points above 8th place right now in total standings. Like, they need all the wins they can get, and they need to get into the winner's bracket. However, if Dallas beats Florida, you guys are going to want Optic to win against Dallas, most likely.
Let's go Optic!
Because
Green Wall!
Because if Dallas is 3-2 and you guys are 3-2, I believe you'll place higher than them. And so kind of what happened to you guys in the past where 3-2 didn't help you. I think this time it'll be very helpful to make sure you guys make the top. It's going to be I think this is going to be, I mean, we called it way back when we saw this released. We looked forward to this match and said, this is probably going to make a difference on placings. It's going to matter, like, a lot. And it will be important, probably mostly for Dallas, especially if they win their match against Florida. Because if you guys are 3-2 and they're 3-2, unfortunately, Dallas is going to get bumped down. And you know, Seth would love to stop Crim from placing any higher ever. You know, it's all love. But
I know they squashed the beef, but it ain't never squashed.
They still want to beat each other.
He's gonna want to win. Yeah.
These two are they're the ghosts
of
our game right now. Yeah, they're number one and number two easily, in my opinion, in the history of Call of Duty. And so the first time they played each other, it was a freaking juggernaut match. It was amazing. Like, it was one of the, I mean, pros were calling it the best match they've seen. And so I hope it turns out to be that good. I hope it goes down to what Dallas loves to do, which is go to round 11. I think somebody did the math and it was like 11 times this year or something crazy. They've gone to round 11. And so I hope to see it. And it was bananas. Yeah, it was some bananas number. Like, they love playing round 11. But they have ice. And so they win these matches and it's, that's who they are. And so I think you're looking at the two most storied franchises in Call of Duty history with Envy and Optic. And this is going to be the El Clasico, and it's going to turn out. And I'm trying to waste time because I don't know who I'm going to say is going to win. I'm going to go, though, with Optic.
Yeah, let's go.
This is a hard call, man. I'm going to go with Optic 3-2. I root for Dallas a lot because I like their brand of Call of Duty. I just like the way they play. They communicate well. When they lose, they lose. They don't take it too seriously. They're not throwing stuff and getting mad. They go back to the lab and they grind their butts off to be the best they can. And they're playing for champs. They're not scared. They know that they're good enough to, of course, make that top 8 this year. And they just keep getting better and better. That's what Krim does every year. Just keep getting better and better so he can be his best at the best event of the year. And so it'll be great, but Optic's going to win 3-2.
Whew, man. Those predictions, man. I'm excited to see how the weekend shakes out, see how we do, see how the other teams do. We do only play once, so for each week, I think there's 2 weekends of the stage where you play twice, and then there's 1 weekend where you play once. This is our week to play once, so we're chilling. We're gonna be watching lots of games. All right. Actually, I have a couple of questions, Standy, before you go, real quick.
Let's do it.
How do you guys watch the matches? Like, do you guys all get together and watch the matches together when they're on like that? Or how does practice work on those competition days? What's it like when we're watching for teams to maybe indicate our seeding? Well, I guess you don't know yet. You just got there. You're about to find out, huh?
Yeah.
What do you guys do? Watch the matches together?
The matches that we definitely watch matches here and there throughout the day and just like talk to each other about like how the seedings are gonna work. And then like for our own matches, like I know everyone they do too as well. Like I like to individually go back and rewatch the match, like everything, and like pick it apart myself. And then we always do like a little team thing where we rewatch the matches, just at least from our last 2 matches where we just get together and even if we win, even if we lose, just try to see if there's a few things that we think that we could have done better. So that's about it.
Nice. I'm excited. Well, we've taken a ton of your time already. I know we went over what we said we would. Shout out to me. Never doing that to you again, hopefully. I apologize. But before you go, I wanted to go through some Okay, you're chilling, right? I know you guys just got done practicing. It's probably a long day, so I'll let you go soon. But before we do, I wanted to go through some rapid fire questions. Think of like we're putting the attachment on right now. We got rapid fire on. You just got to answer as quickly as you can. I want like the first thought, the first, indication that comes to your mind, and just say it. So, all right, let's go. Standy, rapid fire Q&A. Let's go. Let me see. Top 3 favorite Call of Duties of all time. Go.
Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 4, Black Ops 2.
Thank you for saying that. Otherwise, I would have kicked you out of the call. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Dude, we're best friends. All right. Who is your favorite Call of Duty pro before coming into the league?
Scum.
After coming into the league.
After coming into the league?
Do you have a new favorite?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
It's still the same, right?
You.
Yeah, there you go.
Good, yeah. Yo, imagine, you're your favorite COD pro and you made your debut versus your favorite COD pro before getting here. That's impressive. What, in your opinion, is the #1 best Call of Duty map of all time?
Raid.
Yes, we are best friends for life. Who is your favorite RØKKR staff member and why is it MiDNiTE?
Because she's just so inspirational. She's great at content.
Thank you. Listen, I threw that question in just to be funny, but yes, I appreciate that. Let's go. Number one tip that you could tell someone trying to get on a CDL team.
Rome was not built in a day.
Damn.
That's my tip.
I'm putting that on my Standy Stan Club
Quote
t-shirt.
it. Yeah.
Quote it. That's amazing. Put that on the Twitter header. What do you eat for breakfast on game days?
Nutri-Grain bars.
That's a safe bet right there. Well, you know, you got to turn up. You need the carbs. Okay, wait, sorry. It was rapid fire. I'm going into it. How much has your Twitter grown since you 3-0'd Optic?
8,000 followers.
Let's go. In less than a... That's crazy. Go follow the man.
Bananas.
At Standy with 3 A's. Look at you go. Hey, we're working on the other handle, too. Where did your gamer tag come from? You already answered this, but give me the quick version.
When I was 13, I tried to find an OG gamer tag. I started with Standful. I joined a clan, and then I decided to change it to Standy. Boom.
Nice. And the Mecca, the question we all want to know. What is the best Call of Duty weapon of all time, in your opinion?
The MSMC.
Oh, you're a sub.
We're best friends. How do we just become best friends? We have like all the same pancakes, Black Ops 2, MSMC. Let's go. I love that. All right, man. That's gonna wrap it up. That's, dude, it really is. Dude, I'm saying if they just add standoff by the end of the year, this will be the most lit year for competitive COD.
We're in for a treat.
Possibly. I hope so. All right. Well, thank you so much, Eli, a.k.a. Standy, for coming on the podcast. Actually, we worked some magic while you were on here. Somebody came in the chat and said, hey, I went on RØKKR, the RØKKR shop looking for a Standy jersey. It's not on there. How do I buy it? And within 10 minutes, I would say, Allie, who works for RØKKR, made a link, and you can now purchase a Standy jersey. So, Standy, while you were on the podcast, your jersey is for sale. Shout out, Allie. Your jersey's officially for sale now. I'll put the link in the chat. Let's freaking go. Congratulations on that. And yeah, just super happy to have you on the team. Like I said, I've never seen a rookie just come in, mesh right away like you have. I hope this is an indication of things to come in the future. And yeah, just really excited. Kingdom, any final thoughts, closing words for Standy or the rotation?
When you eventually catch an L, just tell yourself your same quote. Rome wasn't built in a day. Like,
head down,
just regain
and
keep grinding. There you go.
Keep grinding. All right. Thank you so much again, Eli. Thank you, Kingdom. Thank you to all of you watching and listening. We'll catch you next week.